What's up, family? I'm the guy that showcase and promote African-American businesses operating here in the greater Phoenix area. Please help me further support these amazing entrepreneurs by not only supporting my YouTube channel or following me on Facebook, but also stop by their businesses and give them a little economic support. My name is Shaka Shabazz, and this is African-American-Made.
Another life lesson for me. I don't know about anybody else, but another life lesson for me. No matter how progressive I thought I was, I'd done all of the marching, protesting. I thought I was on top of my game. I went to Ghana, and the streets are dirty. Everything is red, dirt all up beside the buildings. People with the big things on their heads carrying the chickens, and the sheep and the cattle are walking down the street along with the people. Whatever. My husband says, oh, there's this great restaurant I read about, because he did all of our research for trips. This great restaurant, and he showed me the restaurant. I'm like, that's a great restaurant? Are you sure? What are we gonna have? And I was afraid. I'm embarrassed to say I was afraid of black people, because we had been taught that if you see a whole lot of black folks together and they look poor, then it's not safe.
Okay.
Because I had this girlfriend, when I moved to Phoenix, she lived in the townhouses that I lived in, and we got to know each other. And I didn't have any hair care products, and I was sending back to St. Louis with my family to send me hair care products, because where I lived, there were none. And I'm talking about the Maryville area. And somebody at church had told me, well, if you go to the South Phoenix, there are some shops where there are black hair care products. So I was telling my white girlfriend that I was gonna go to South Phoenix to see if I couldn't find products for my hair. She says, oh, darling, don't do that. Oh, I'm so scared for you. Those people are poor and it's gonna be dangerous. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And I knew right then she meant because there are poor black people there, that it was dangerous for me to go there, and I shouldn't do that. I did the same thing when I went to Africa. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yes.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I had it.
Yeah.
You know.
So how were you able to get past that and immerse yourself in the culture and in the surroundings you were in?
Recognizing it, because I saw the association right away.
Yes, yes.
I'm the same thing. My husband was just walking on, and he thought everything was wonderful, and it was. It was just. It was just wonderful.
Yes.
But still there was this fear, all these poor people, that means they're gonna rob somebody. Africa probably is the most religious, the most gentle, the most, everybody I met were just wonderful. So the way the people were helped me get over it, and then my recognizing that I was wrong.
Yes.
And where it came from.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So you've traveled to some of these amazing places, which I'm definitely going to ask you about later. But you retired, and you're not doing much, or you've already dabbled in a little bit of this and that?
I retired, but I was still doing administrative coaching. I was still doing leadership things with the leadership school, leadership teams. So I didn't.
You were active.
I was active.
Yes.
I was active.
Now,
And on top of that, I went to LA, and they had this store called the African Marketplace that was in the Crenshaw Mall, close to Leimert Park. Anybody hearing this, they'll know Leimert Park. Okay. And that group says, you know what, you all have some beautiful African products. Why don't you become part of ours? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that AfriSoul is based upon. Okay. The African Marketplace that was in LA.
Okay.
And so I based it up on that. Yeah. So I was doing a lot of things still, even though I'd retired formally from a school district. But I worked for the Department of Ed. I worked for ASU's Teacher College, just doing teacher training and principal coaching, administrative coaching.
So when you saw this market and the atmosphere and the products, and that kind of gave you an ideal of what you could do out here in Arizona, or well, you were in California for a while too, right?
I was in California, but before I went to California, I was just bringing back African products for myself.
Okay.
So my home probably looked like a African store all by itself. And friends and families and neighbors were saying, hey, next time you go bring me, I want one of those pictures like that. I want a statue like that. I want to. So we just got a shipload and we brought it all back and then decided what to do with it.
Okay.
And that's when we joined the African Marketplace in California.
Okay. And how did you start developing this space here and getting it to where it is today? Because I mean, it's just a lot happening here.
I just had this idea in my head that the African Marketplace should be here in Phoenix. Of all the work that my husband and I did when we had our first market, is we went to shows in California, LA, Oakland, Denver, Chicago, you name it, but we never had a single thing that we did in Arizona where we actually lived.
I see. So
And,
you went to the places where
Black folks were not ashamed
yes.
to show their Afrocentric. They were
Gotcha.
not ashamed to. They,
Yes.
in California particularly, they wear to regular work. They're wearing Afrocentric clothing all the time. It's no big deal.
Yes.
And they had a hunger for it, and they reached out and they looked for you, and they bought it and they purchased it, and we were doing great. And Denver, likewise, Chicago, likewise, St. Louis, likewise, because there are large Black populations that live in they're spread out, but they still live in Black communities.
Yes, they have a pipeline.
Yeah,
And you know, it's just part of the tapestry. Like, you know, I mean, you could be upscale or be, you know, whatever, but you still, from time to time, you go down to the African market and pick out some African books or
Absolutely.
you know, Black-centric stuff. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Now, I'm thinking small scale, very small scale. Every now and then you'll see a little something here in Arizona, but you saw a void here, right?
Yes.
And there was never, I mean, nothing to this scale at all, but every now and then you'll see a little table or a little shop with some Afrocentric stuff in it.
To be honest, in Arizona, I knew of one Afrocentric business that had African products, and he mainly did wholesale. He'd been around a long time. We'd gone to his shop every now and then, had a great big warehouse. But mainly in Scottsdale, white people were selling high-end African art. And it still is. If you go to Scottsdale now, you can find a lot of high-end shops that sell African products.
Yes.
They do.
Oh, I can believe that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
So if anybody wants to do that, they can do that. That's certainly true.
Yeah.
So, but I was also thinking about the fact that I didn't know, I'd lived in Arizona all this time, and I really didn't know where to find Black businesses owned by Black people. I didn't know where to find it.
Yes.
And I decided I didn't want to spend my money with white America if I could help it. Not because I dislike them or anything like that.
Of course, yeah.
But I want my dollars to stay. I want my dollars to be like my vote. I'm very choosy about who I vote for, and I want to be very choosy about where I spend my dollar and what it's going to be.
How did you come up with the name AfriSoul?
I guess God gave it to me. I don't know, it just popped up there. I tell people this, and it's not really funny, and I'm embarrassed by it, but I just want you to know how focused I was. I was driving past this building all the time, and I knew it was empty. And it just came to me, that would be a great building to start something like the African Marketplace in California. It would just be a great idea. And I called Mr. Berry, the owner of the place, and I said, I think I want to rent your space and the whole building. And he said, well, okay. And I said, well, when I went to take my money, my first deposit, I hadn't even told my husband. And I'm not, this is shameful, but I was so focused, and I really didn't want to hear anybody bring up the negatives.
I understand.
And
I could definitely identify
maybe
with that.
in the back of my head, I was thinking that, because he asked me this very thing. Did you think I was going to say no? Is that why? To be honest, I was so focused on what needed to be done that I really didn't think about him.
So did you and your husband have conversations before that about this idea of perhaps maybe one day doing something like what you saw in California or in these other cities?
We had conversations about resurrecting, but in California. We never even thought about doing it in Arizona.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, I had product under my bed, in every closet, in a shed out back. The garage was loaded. So I already, when I first opened this place, I almost had enough to fill it myself, to be honest.
Wow.
And in fact, when I first opened it, I did stage it with just my stuff.
Yes.
Because you almost have to, in order to get buy-in, you have to already have a product.
Yes.
You know, because other people, I brought in 2 other people, they couldn't see the vision. They said, yeah, but then they copped out. And so it had to look good. So I had to do the feigning, the floors, the everything. And then I started trying to recruit. And one of the things I'm glad to say that helped me a lot, formally I opened in January 2019. But I was cleaning up and doing everything in 2018, letting people know, all that kind of stuff, sending out flyers and all that. So in 2019, and I was here maybe, I don't even know, maybe 3, 4, 5 months. And a young lady who was one of the early businesses here, went to something called Archwood Exchange. I'd never heard of Archwood Exchange. And she went there and she must have talked to Ali or Henry, I'm not sure, that, hey, do you know that there is a AfriSoul Marketplace, that's what we were called at the time, AfriSoul Marketplace down the street, and they're looking for black businesses, and they've got places for you to, whatever, it is beautiful, She built it up. Ali gave me a phone call, and he said, hey, somebody told me you've got this place. I can't come by and see you today, maybe next week, but he showed up anyway because he was so excited. And so Archwood then brought their businesses, their small businesses, because they have a monthly Buy Black business every month. The first, in fact, it was yesterday, the first Friday of every month, they have a Buy Black marketplace, or the first Saturday, I'm not real sure. And they brought their 4 or 5 businesses over here. And so people got to hear about us a little bit more in 2019.
Okay.
And it didn't totally work out for us, and they ended up moving on to something else, but it opened up the door for people to hear about us. And Ali decided that he was going to open a bookstore while he was here, when Archwood was still here.
And just for our viewers, Mr. Ali is the owner of Grassroots Bookstore and a juice bar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so the space where Grassroots is now didn't belong to us. I hadn't gotten that space because the same day that I took my money, somebody else took their money and rented 2 other spaces, even though I wanted the whole building.
Yes.
I didn't get the whole building. And so Ali decided, because everybody else was having a business, that he was going to open a bookstore.
Okay.
And so he had 1 bookshelf. And if you go in there, that brown bookshelf, all the rest of them are black. The brown bookshelf was the 1 bookshelf that he had. And in fact, I have pictures of us posing somebody reading a book and whatever from there until we opened that. And so his business started here. And then after his business, we opened up the space, and then we worked together in his business, because it was Grassroots Bookstore, no cafe at the time, just Grassroots Bookstore and co-workspace. So I had tables in there and computers set up for co-workspace. And so we also shared that space. So then I moved out and he took it over, and anyway. So that's kind of how that happened.
Okay.
But yeah, so we just recruit businesses, but word of mouth pretty much brings businesses.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So just a month ago, we had 28 businesses. Just a month ago.
Wow.
So I closed out January, February, March. I closed out November with 28 businesses.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
this is the end of January, and we're up to 40. So between that time, people just walked in and say, hey, how can I bring my product here? Hey, how can I bring my product here?
Wow.
So it's, you know.
That's amazing. So let's talk about some of the things you got going on in here.
Okay.
Let's start with, well, we talked about the bookstore. What are some of the other services you offer to your clients?
Okay. And I have 2 clients. And you can tell I'm very excited about this.
Yes.
But so each business is their own business. We're just the incubator.
Yes.
I provide the space, the resources, the internet, so you don't have to worry about any of that. What you have to worry about as a small startup business is growing your business, learning how to do business, depending on how you want to scale it.
Yes.
If you want to stay small, then you're working on just your product.
Yes.
So we have products and services. And so we have here space for a small nonprofit, has their office space here. Okay. They're not a business like a service or whatever. Mm-hmm. They do, well, I guess they are a service. Mm-hmm. And they're a social business. And we have a photo studio, podcast room, that's a service. We have an esthetician that does facials, and we have a massage therapist who's one of our new businesses. I think he's number 28.
Okay.
And we have a plethora of body butters and clothing, t-shirts. My personal business is the African art you see, the masks, the African baskets. We have, what else? We have space for businesses to host their conferences or workshops or whatever it is that they want to do in the space.
Yes.
We have pop-ups out in our parking lot. Businesses can rent the parking lot to host a pop-up if they want to. Oh, what else? There is a toothpaste, washing detergent, deodorant. Oh.
That's amazing.
And those are all individual businesses.
Right.
And what we ask is that they should have a website. They should, but we have a website. Mm-hmm. And our website will tell you about the businesses, and then we'll connect you to their website. We're not about just trying to make money, because we don't make money on the website, because that business goes straight to them.
Yeah.
And but we do work under a collaborative agreement. We try to work together. We plan some things together, but each business can plan some things individually too in this space.
That's amazing.
So let's say, for instance, I've had a young lady who is an artist. So she's had paint and sips in here, and the money that she earns goes to her.
Yeah.
And I've had a gentleman in here who grew hydroponic plants. So he had a hydroponics class, and the revenue goes to him to help grow his business. But we also try to encourage a community to come here, people to have interesting conversations. So we have people who meet in the juice bar with their classmates, or somebody from work, or somebody interesting that they met someplace at the library that they want to have further conversation. So they may come here just to sit and chat.
Yeah.
And we also encourage the community to come in and host things that are relevant to our community. Mm-hmm. So it could be financial classes, it could be education classes, it could be whatever it happens to be. And we're growing in a direction where we want to get more community minded. So being an educator, I always think about homeschooling. Arizona is one of the biggest homeschooling states in the United States. Mm-hmm. And Black people do homeschool. And but being an educator, I'm nervous about, do they know how to homeschool? Do they know how to set it up? Do they know the benefits and the downsizes? Do they understand? And so we're going to start a website and have classes here for parents and teachers who want to learn more about how to homeschool effectively, efficiently, making sure that their children learn the things that they need to learn, to understand how children grow and learn. So there's certain skills and things that kids need to know at certain times in their lives. So we're also hosting those kind of things too. So.
Wow, so this is not just a place for businesses to have their products, a home for their products. This is a resource center.
Absolutely. And that's why we changed the name from AfriSoul Marketplace because that means you're just buying and selling. We do way more than buy and sell. That we changed it to AfriSoul Education Center. And by the way, we have a micro school here too. It has about 20 kids in it. So
explain to the audience what that school
what
is.
a micro
and what
school
it's,
is?
And what's its mission?
well, it's a school, but its mission is to do schooling and education for our children, and to do it authentically and to do it correctly, and to surround our children with leadership. So being in this site, the kids have a whole lot of teachers.
Okay.
They have me, they have Ali in the book room and whoever works there. They have the esthetician. They have all these small businesses who offer something to them if they want at different times of the day. And but it has a regular educational curriculum, but it just makes sure that it's the real curriculum. Because just in case Arizona doesn't know, there are forces, strong forces out there that are trying to downsize the Black role in history,
Yes, absolutely.
to take away from it, to act like it didn't happen,
Yes.
to pretend that slavery was good because you learn new skills. So that's happening all over the nation, and it's happening here.
Yes.
We may not know it, but there's a hotline where teachers can call, or parents can call, if they feel that teachers are teaching something that they haven't decided should be in the history book.
Yes.
Books are being closed and taken off the shelves because they talk about slavery and how it really affected people, and sharecropping, and who actually came to America first after the American
they're
Indian.
trying to erase that history.
And they want to take all that off, and they want you to think that we were only slaves.
Yeah. How did you get the word out? How did that? I know you were associated early on with Archwood, who was doing stuff in the community with small businesses, with their marketplace. But I mean, that's one source. How did the word get out about what you were doing to where you got the support you got today? And I know it's ever growing, but to the date.
Yeah. Well, we've been here 5 years, and it hasn't been easy. And I've invested a lot. And but word of mouth. I mean, unfortunately, Black folks are still worried about doing word of mouth, which means that things move slow.
Yeah.
I try to put flyers and information in churches, in our Black churches, which is also still a great source for information, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yes.
I put things in the Arizona Informant, but I noticed that only older Arizonans pretty much get that. The young ones, some of them have never even heard of it.
Yes.
And which is a shame.
Yes.
I do a few interviews like this. I try to do a few speaking engagements. I really encourage the businesses that are here, those 40 businesses, to do the work. If I provide the structure, you're younger, you do the work, and I'll provide the structure. That's really how I want it to be, because I don't really want my face to be the one
Yes. Yes.
in front.
Yes.
And so that's really how it's been. We do a lot of social media. My granddaughter does a lot of it now. I hired somebody earlier on to do it also. But I really rather use that money to upgrade things to, there's always something. Business is business. And I said we have two clients. We have the businesses, the small businesses. I want them to be successful. And in order for them to be successful, I have to bring in customers. And they have to bring in customers. So we have to work together, them and me, bringing in customers, whatever that happens to be. It's very helpful for the community to bring in groups. So like the realist groups, they come in, all their people see, oh, I didn't know this was here.
Absolutely.
And so then they tell people.
Yes.
We've had, right now there is a photo shoot going on. I saw about 15 young adults going in there. And they say, oh, what is this place? I've never been here, so they tell their friends.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it's been going, I think. Well, I deliberately chose this area knowing Mr. Berry, the owner of this building, I like to talk to him. He tells me that his doctor's office was right so-and-so, and he would come here. So this was mainly, and it was designated deliberately through the Land Development Project of Phoenix, that this was a Black and brown area, more Black than brown, but they were both here. And but you have to think about, some people like to get upset at African Americans because they move away. Because they move away. And one of the things that I know about it is Black folks can't get money sometimes to fix up their places. And so the property value goes down. And when Black people live in a place, the property value goes down anyway. Not because of anything they did,
Yes,
but because
absolutely.
they're not the ones who rate that.
Exactly.
So you're rated by the banks and by the financial institutions and by the whatever. And if too many Black people live there, the property value is going to be rated lower.
Suppressed, yes.
And then you can't get money to fix up your place. And so when you're offered what seems to be a lot of money, you take it and then you move someplace else. Usually we move in the suburbs or something.
Yes.
And it's the same trajectory that's going on all over America. Big cities, large cities, small, whatever. And then as soon as all of us are out, then they come in and redevelop the land.
Yes.
And make it something else. So I'm trying to keep a presence here. And in order to do that, we need to open up more than just one place. We need to start buying up the property and doing something here with it. And it doesn't have to be retail. We have doctor's offices. Why not build a doctor's office? There used to be a hospital in this area. East Lake Park is where Bill Pickett invented bulldogging. That's when you jump off the horse. While the horse is riding, you jump off, you grab the cow, you wrap up the hooves, within a certain number of time. Well, that's a regular feature in rodeos now.
Yeah.
But a Black man invented that right here at East Lake Park.
Wow.
Not only that, but all the Black ball players, because the Negro League, because they couldn't play in the white ball league, they used to play at East Lake Park.
Wow.
So this area has a rich history and almost nobody knows it.
Yes.
Why do you think there's 3 Black churches right along the corridor there, right along the street? Because this is where Black people live. The churches followed the folks. And so it would be great that if, as this land comes up, that we get together in groups of some kind, businesses get together and start buying it up and revitalize it and bring it back in some kind of way. So we could have doctor's offices, lawyers' offices, entertainment areas, food places, everything.
Yes.
Everything that we need to, and right here downtown adjacent. We don't have to do everything all away, although there's nothing wrong with that. Right. We're all spread out. But we could still have a traditional historic area and preserve it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
For me, it's not even really about the businesses. It's about what our children get to see, what they see, what they witness. And if we don't start taking control of who we are, we shouldn't have to wait until we're co-signed by somebody else. Somebody else says your hair looks good and it's okay and it fits, so now we can do it. Somebody else says that the clothing that you wear is okay because the fashion houses are now using African prints.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, by the way, they are. Yeah. And they're charging zillions of dollars for it. And so now it's okay. Dark skin is all right, only because they started bringing in natural models who have kinky hair and big noses and lips. And so now it's okay.
Yeah.
We always wait for others to co-sign us. I want our children to know you are everything you need to be right now. Whether anybody else knows it, you have to know it. And so our children need to see us doing our work, acting who we are, proud of who our ancestors are, know who they are, where we came from, what we are about, what we have done in the world, what we've produced, what we've grown. And the fact is that America wouldn't be America if it hadn't been for us.
Yes.
It wouldn't be. It couldn't be. We did all the work.
Well, I mean, there is so much we can talk about, and I hope that you invite me back to talk about the cultural aspects of these things and from a historical standpoint, because you have so much knowledge. I would love to talk to you again. Today, this is about your amazing business and what you're doing with all these other people that you're inviting in. And I'm so humbled that you allowed me this time to talk to you. where do you see this thing going from here? What would you like to see in the next 3 to 5 years with what you're doing?
Well, I'd like to see my granddaughter or my son-in-law or somebody else in my family take it over, which is I hope all these businesses that are here, that if they have children or relatives, that we keep it in the family so that we can keep moving. One of the things that I'd like to see happen is, let's say for instance, I've had good jobs in my life and make a lot of money. And when I pass on, usually my children get nothing because, you know, we use our money. You know, we're buying expensive shoes and cars and clothes and da-da-da-da-da-da. And so we don't propel the following generations up the next level. And then it's my hope that we propel the next generation up, and then that generation propels that one, and that generation propels that one, so that we're no longer begging for anything.
Yes.
We're no longer waiting for anybody to give us anything. We take it because it's ours. We build it ourselves. We build the banks. We build the media centers. We build the whatever it happens to be, and that we're on even plane. And so my desire here is that, and by the way, being here has been as enriching for me as for anybody. I didn't know that. I've met some of the most amazing young folks, and I always say to myself, how come I didn't do that when I was 20, 21, 25, 30?
Yes.
And they're just doing some really amazing things, and I never would have known it if I had stayed in my lane, which is the education lane. Nothing wrong with it. But getting out here, I'm just meeting all kinds of people, and they are doing wonderful things in Phoenix. There are more Black businesses all over the valley, and it would be great if everybody just did a little research and find out where to go. There are great places to eat. There are great places to buy flowers. There are great places to get clothing, and not Afrocentric, just clothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
yes.
There are CPAs, there's lawyers, there are doctors, there's dentists all over the valley that you can spend your money with, knowing that it will go toward your community in some form to help them.
Yes, absolutely. Man, you parallel African-American-Made, even just saying that, because that's what it's all about, like seeking these people out and knowing where they are and having a like you said, a hub to say, okay, what's happening here? And those entities, knowing that you're here and they have a place to maybe bring their cards or, you know, showcase their business here inside of this awesome space where they know they're supported, you know. So, man, that's amazing. And you just want that to grow, and you want to pass that on to your to your grandkids.
Somebody else, a whole lot of somebody else's pick up the mantle.
And hopefully that will spark other people to do similar things in other areas of the city, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, absolutely. I think that's beautiful. What would you like people, I mean, you said so many amazing things about yourself, but what would you like people to know about you?
Well, I was just saying that old-time parents, my father, would get on to us if we gave too much information to strangers, and actually even to family too. And name, rank, serial number, and maybe not all the name. So I want people to know that I'm trying to do some good in the world, and I feel that I'm directed by God to do it.
Yes.
And I'm serious.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you, and I feel like we need to do some more interviews related to your amazing history and your breadth of knowledge on so many different things, particularly in education. I would be humble if you allow me to come back and do that sometime when it's convenient for you.
I'd love to have you.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you so much. This has been an amazing experience, and I'm so glad I met you. Thank you so much.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.